In this video, I'm going to show you a Jetta 1.8T turbo upgrade that I did that you probably have never seen before because it's probably never been done before. I had to sleeve the compressor housing in order to make another inlet so that we can machine it for a different wheel size. You can machine the factory inlet for a 42mm KO4 compressor wheel. However, I couldn't grab it on the machine because I would have to cut my chucks down. So I figured it would still be just as easy to go ahead and make another inlet and just machine that out of this solid piece of aluminum here, and then press that inside the compressor housing and then resurface it and then machine that back out. The machine had a little bit of clearance issues with the compressor housing with the door open, but with the door closed it seemed okay. Sometimes it would hit if I was leaning up against the door, which just caused more problems. That kind of took up a lot of my time because I would have to reline it back up every time I knocked it off a little bit. So I did end up just cutting on the door to help prevent the housing from hitting. It was really just a pain to deal with this turbo. I started off by machining the compressor housing inlet off first, and then I machined out the bore of where the inlet was around it, so then I could bore that out just a little bit just to surface it, so then I could make a solid piece of pipe that I could press into the compressor housing. The most time consuming part of this build was machining the solid piece of aluminum to make a perfect pipe to fit into the housing, and then I had to cut the inside out a little bit. It just makes it easier when I go to bore it out. I did write a small CNC program to bore out the inducer, and then I machined the radius by hand using the compressor wheel as a gauge. That was the only way I could do it for now, since I didn't have the radius of the compressor wheel. In case you're wondering what the canister is on the compressor housing, I think that's a silencer, but if I'm wrong, please tell me, because that's what I was thinking that it was. Here's a good look at the inside of the compressor housing after I did all the machining for the radius. It turned out really nice, and I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. If you look closely, you can see a line where the inlet is for the pipe, and then the casting is for the compressor housing. I also machined the compressor housing for a lip for the intake boot, so it'll help it stay on a lot easier. The compressor wheel we used is the same one that we used on the Mini Cooper build. It's a 7-blade 51mm by 62 by 66, and somebody from Greenland claimed to make 400 horsepower on this compressor wheel on a Cobalt SS. The Cobalt has a much larger exhaust housing, and it's a twin scroll, so it's very possible that it made that much power. I'm hoping that we can make 350 horsepower out of this compressor wheel and turbine combination with the original turbine housing for the 1.8T. Here's a really nice shot of my Mickey Mouse underpants that I got at Disney World. Those were literally $20. The original KO3 turbine on the Jetta is 37mm, and we machined that for the 44.4 by 50mm 9-blade turbine. So it's a pretty big difference over the factory turbine wheel. Here's the factory compressor wheel besides the upgrade. The factory compressor wheel is like 37mm around there, and then the upgrade is 51mm. Usually I wouldn't take on a build like this, but I had a shop that asked me to do this, so usually I'd only do a build like this for a shop. However, I can have these compressor housings and exhaust housings remade to make this a whole lot easier. It could also be a do-it-yourselfer project kind of thing, so I could offer a kit for people to buy. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not, but if there's enough interest, I'll probably do it. We are going to do the same version of this upgrade for a Ford Focus ST Turbo. So if you want to see that turbo upgrade, you can always subscribe so you'll be notified when that video is uploaded.